Hi, everyone. As Elise said, I am Jessie Isley. I'm the Senior Program Manager for Children's Services here at the library, and I'm also Interim Branch Manager here at our Imagine-On location uptown, which is our youth facility for children and families. And so I'm just so excited to be here with you today to share a little bit more about our library programs, what we offer, how we offer them, and how to best find information about them and access them, as well as, of course, answer any questions you have about library programs, library resources, or anything else I can help with today. So our program today is called Love Library Programming, since we're in February and it's a month of love, and we love all of our library programming here at the library. And so a little bit about what we'll do today. And the information that I'll share is I'll talk about our program areas and the way we break up our age ranges, who we focus on in our different programs for different ages, why we focus that way, and sort of what the goals of some of those programs for the different age groups are. I'll talk about the types of programs that we have, so different formats, different ways you can enjoy the programs, different spaces you can come to for programs and things like that. And then we'll do sort of a deep dive into our online calendar, which is available on our website and is definitely the best way to see all of the wonderful programs we have to offer, but can be a little bit intimidating. And so there's lots of great features that I want to share so that you can use the calendar to get it to show you what you need to know and what you're looking for. That'll also be a great time for your questions as we go through the calendar. And of course, at the end as well, we'll take any questions that you have. So that's sort of what we're going to go over today. And I'll start with our program areas. Here at the library, we program for 3 distinct age groups, and we break them up in certain ways. So for children, we focus on children and ages 0 to 11. And of course, for that age, it also includes parents, caregivers, educators, all sorts of anyone interested, grandparents, aunts, and uncles for children that age. So 0 to 11 is what we call our children's services here at the library. And again, that also is babies up to about 5th grade. So that's sort of how we break up the children age range. For teens, we start at age 12 and go up to age 18. And again, we roughly think that's 6th to 12th grade. So while the kids are in middle school and high school for our teen programs. And then for adults, that's of course our widest ranging age group, anyone 18 plus. So once our teenagers have graduated high school and then all the way up to seniors, we program for with our adult programming. And the thing we really emphasize in our programming is lifelong learning and a love of learning and literacy. And so that starts as early as our little babies and goes all the way up to seniors and everyone in between. And our wonderful programming staff are very, very dedicated and excited to engage with all ages through our programming. So now I'll talk just a little bit about each age group and how we focus our programs and think about programming for that age group. So for children's services, although we serve ages birth to 11, like I mentioned, we sort of break that into 2 groups. And we start with our early literacy programming for ages 0 to 5. So those babies up to right about kindergarten, pre-K. And that's because we're incorporating really important literacy and developmental practices in all of those programs that help children get ready for school and also help prepare them to learn how to read. So that's all of our storytime programs, but also anything we do that's focused on that age group before they get to kindergarten. So not only are we talking about pre-literacy skills, talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing, but we're focusing on fine motor development, gross motor development, behavior and socialization, things they need to know when they get to kindergarten. And so all of our programs for ages 0 to 5 really hone in on those important pre-literacy skills as well as getting ready for school. And then once we hit kindergarten, we do school age programming for ages 5 to 11. And that gives us the chance to really vary what we offer based on the needs of the students and kiddos, as well as their interests. And so those programs provide academic support, but also enrichment and opportunity for children and families to socialize together outside of formal school settings. And so those programs can focus on reading, but they can also focus on interesting topics like science or art. We have book clubs and writing groups, just different things to engage school-age kids, always with the goal of supporting their academic success, but also with the goal of engaging them in new resources, meeting new people, and again, targeting those important social and social emotional skills. So that's our children's programs. As we age up to our teen programs, we target our kiddos ages 12 to 18. And the programs here focus on supporting teens to thrive in adolescence and to grow into healthy and successful young adults. And we know that the teen years can be trying sometimes. And so we really want to focus positively on two areas of focus that overlap. So we want to not only expose teens to very important learning outcomes, such as community learning, creativity, digital citizenship, and others, but we also really want to provide teens with positive developmental support, empowerment, boundaries, and constructive use of time. So all that child development and early childhood development doesn't stop once the teenagers hit 12 and go into middle school and high school. And so our programming staff for teen services really focuses on positive developmental programming that engages teens, will bring them in, will help them, again, socialize, meet new friends, and also provide important role models for teenagers, as well as, again, access to all sorts of resources available to help them make decisions about their future. And then our adult services programming staff has one of the hardest jobs, but also one of the most exciting, because they focus on everyone ages 18 plus. And so those programs really run the gamut and support the educational, personal, and professional goals of adults through all phases of their life, from early adulthood to post-career adulthood. And so in our adult programming, we focus both on peer-to-peer learning and what adults can learn from each other, as well as intentional one-on-one interactions to support skill development in a safe and comfortable environment. So our adult programs, again, there's a wide variety. There are groups that get together to talk about books. There are conversation clubs. There are groups that get together to learn about new topics. There are creative groups that get together and craft and do art. And then there are lots and lots of opportunities for digital learning, digital literacy, and learning more about technology, as well as, of course, job seekers and job skill programming as well. So we stay very busy in adult services. The last thing I'll mention about these areas is that while we look at them distinctly and offer programs distinct for the age groups, of course, these ages overlap. And so we also have important programs for preteens to help our children bridge the gap into teen programming, as well as programs for what we call new adults. So those 16 to 24-year-olds, as they're figuring out what they want to do after high school and making some important life decisions. So it's really about that continuum of lifelong learning that I mentioned before. And we just really try to have something for everyone at the library within these focus areas and provided by our expert programmers. So the other thing I just wanted to highlight is that we have lots of different types and formats of the programs happening across all of our locations. We do have 21 branch locations that all offer programming in-house, in person. So you can always visit a branch and attend a program in your local branch. And we'll look at the calendar to see how to find out what's happening at your local branch and when. But in-person programs are very popular and happen at all of our locations. Of course, during COVID, we did shift programming to online and virtual settings, just like we're doing right now. And while in-person programming has come back in a big way, our online programming is here to stay as well. And so you'll see different programs offered both in person and online, depending on the age group, the branch, the format, etc. We found that a lot of adult programs really work well online, and that flexibility is great for our adult customers. Meanwhile, most of our story times are back in person for kids. So you'll see a balance of both in-person and online programs on our calendar. And as I mentioned before, we do a lot of group programming for different age ranges. So for children especially, that's our story times or some of our school age programs. For teens, we often get a group of teens together for gaming or other programs that happen in the branch. And for adults, we have things like book clubs and conversation clubs that are all groups working together during a program. But we also offer very important one-on-one programs for all ages. And so depending on the learning needs and the interests of your child or yourself or your teenager, we have one-on-one programs like our Reading Buddies program for children. We have My Next Step programming for teens, where they can connect one-on-one with a teen services staff member and talk through what they want to do after high school, whether that be college or career, learn all about resources specific to their needs. And then for adults, we found that one-on-one setting is wonderful for the technology help programs, where adults can learn more about a specific device or a specific website that they're interested in. different things like that that really lend themselves well to one-on-one interaction and building a relationship with a library staff member. So we have group programs, we have one-on-one programs. Of course, like I said, we have programs inside our branches, but also during COVID, we started offering some outdoor programs, and we have kept some of those as well. So depending on the location and the space they have, you might see some outdoor programming, outdoor story times happening. You might see book clubs sitting outside. You might see special festivals as we get to spring and summer, family events that can happen outdoors, and even sometimes story times in the park. So maybe not at your library branch, but at a nearby park, you might find our staff providing some story times during the warmer months. And then the last thing about our programs is that some require registration ahead of time in different ways, and some are just drop-in that you can come to when they're available and you're available. And as we look at our online calendar, we can talk more about how to tell when a program requires some registration, what types of registration you might need to do ahead of time, and what programs are available to just walk in. So those are the different types and formats of programs we have to offer. And of course, as I've mentioned, the best way to sort of see what we have at a glance is our online calendar. And so this QR code is here. If you want to scan it with another device, it'll take you straight to our calendar. Our calendar is always available at cmlibrary.org/calendar. That will take you straight to the calendar page anytime, and it stays updated every day. But I'm going to do a different screen share now and share with you the library website to show you how to find the calendar from there, and then we'll look at the calendar together. So let me work on that. All right, so now you're looking at our website, which is cmlibrary.org. Our homepage is always great. You can do a search at the top, you can search the site or the catalog, and you can see special events, many of which are programs listed across the banners at the top. But to find the calendar and really do a deep dive into how to find programs, the easiest way from our website is this blue calendar button kind of in the middle. And so if you click there, you will get directed to our library calendar. And I see Miss Elise put it in the chat. Thank you. That's great. And the first thing I want you to know about this calendar is that now your search box here at the top is searching our calendar of events. And so it looks very much like our website search box or our catalog search box. But once you're on this calendar page, you can do a keyword search for any type of program straight here in this box. And so that's very helpful. If you know the name of a program or even the topic you're interested in, you can always do a keyword search here. And so that is an option. As you scroll down, you'll see that our calendar can be a bit overwhelming. You see we have close to 7,000 items and programs listed in our calendar, which is so many to look at. And what you'll see first is some of our all-day events are listed. And so we do have things happening all day, every day at certain locations. And these are things we really want to highlight and make sure people know are available. So this is something like our resume reviews. Those you can actually email in at any point. And if you click on resume review, you'll get directions for doing so. Same for things like these photo showcases and other programs and scavenger hunts that are available at your local branch that staff really want you to know about, that you can come in and see. And so as you scroll down a little bit more, you will start to see then things happening on the day that you're looking at the calendar. So today is the 15th, and you'll see that we have some programs currently in progress. And so at this point, the calendar does go in date and time order. And so if you're ever just wanting an overview of what's happening anywhere around our library system on a day of the week, you can certainly scroll through and see. And so you'll see things that are in progress, things that are upcoming, things for all ages and at all locations. And you can certainly scroll through that way, but it is a lot of programs, and it's often more helpful to narrow things down. So I'm going to show you now just some of the features available to you for narrowing down the calendar. The first one is here on the top right, and this is our featured events tab. So if you click this, you'll see featured events only. And those are just upcoming special events we really want people to know about. And so if you're ever interested in what's happening day to day and what we might be working on and focused on, you can click this button to see featured events only. And you can toggle that back off, and then you're back to all of our events. You also have some view options here. Occasionally programs are canceled, so you could hide those using this toggle. And then there is an option to print the calendar. So when you click print, you'll get a nice printable view that has none of the photos and is just the list of what's currently on your screen. And that's certainly an option, especially once you filter it down. So those are just the options here on the right. I think those aren't as helpful as the ones on the left. The ones on the left are where you want to be as you're looking through things and trying to narrow down what you want to find. So the first thing to know is that these are all filters on the left-hand side that will narrow down what you're seeing on the right. And so the first one listed here is a date filter. This is extremely helpful, especially if you just want to see what's happening on a very particular day. And so what I like to do if I'm looking for something specific is do the from date as, for example, tomorrow, and then do until tomorrow, because that will give me a list of just things happening on Thursday, February 16th. And you can see that's narrowed us down to 79 programs, again, across our locations and online. And so that helps a lot. If you want a snapshot of what happens each day at the library, you can filter by date, and then your filters start to show up here at the top. And you can always clear them at the top or X them out if you want to try something different. So the next most helpful filter is location. And you'll see here at the top, online events is first. So if you're only interested in online events, that is always something you can click and see what's happening online and when. And you'll see we have a variety of online events tomorrow, everything from writing to Microsoft Excel to another lunch and learn program, just lots of things happening online. If you're not interested in online and you want to know what's happening at your local branch, all the branches are listed here. And so you can filter by location. If you're perhaps in Matthews for tomorrow and you want to know what's happening, you can click just Matthews and see what's happening on Thursday. You can also click multiple locations. So if you're in that general area and you might want to go to Independence, Mint Hill, or Matthews, you can click on all three of those and see what's happening at all three of those locations. And then once you've narrowed in on what you might want to know more about, you click on the program name to learn more. And so our Independence branch has a family story time tomorrow. So as you click on it to get more information, you will see contact information for the library staff, and that's a great number or email to call or send if you have more questions. You'll get information on the branch itself, so where it's located, what its hours are, how to get there, and then a description of the event, as well as registration information here. And so registration can vary branch to branch and program to program, and it's great to click more and learn more about registration at each program. So this one is limited to 15 families, and you register one contact person per family. Some programs you register online, and we'll go through that, how to do that on the calendar. Some you register by calling the branch or going into the branch. And so by clicking on the title of the program, you'll be able to find out more details about what you need to know to attend. So that's filtering by date and by location. We will do some more talk about registration as we see others. But you do have other options here for filtering. And this is where it gets handy to mix and match. So our audience filter is our age range filter. And you'll notice that it's broken down a little bit more than I talked about our 3 age groups. And that's just to really help us define our audience and who we're looking at and looking for. So you'll see that children's, for example, has not only school-age children ages 5 to 11, but we also have babies, toddlers, and preschool. Same for preteens. We have preteens as well as teens. And then we have new adults, older adults, as well as a parents and caregivers group. And so if you were looking for something for the 0 to 5 age range, you would need to click babies, preschool, and toddlers. And so that's just something to keep in mind as you're looking at the filtering. And honestly, at that point, if you're looking for 0 to 5, I bet you're often looking for story time. And that's the other thing I wanted to show you is we also have event type filters here. And I actually find those a lot more helpful sometimes than the audience, depending on what you're looking for. And so if I clear all of our filters, just so we can see our options here, you'll see that our event type gives you a good snapshot into the different types of programs, some of which we talked about before. So if you're interested in story time, there's a story time. If you're interested in more parent-teacher, there's parent-teacher education. If you're interested in writing or art education or books and literature, there are lots of different topics here for the event types that you can click through and sort of toggle and see what might be available. So that's another good way to start your search, is if you know you want to find a conversation club, for example, you can click that, narrow it down to all of our conversation clubs, and then limit by perhaps your location or the date range that you're looking for. And so I really like the event type filtering to help you narrow down what you're going to see day to day in the calendar list. And then the last two filtering options here at the bottom, there's one called program, and that is for some of our ongoing library special programming and initiatives that tend to happen through the year at certain times and tend to really be focused on at certain times of the year. For example, our community read program happens every March. It's for all ages. We have a variety of books to read together and discuss. It's coming up this March if you're interested in participating. And so that program filter will show you everything happening for community read around the system. And as you go through the month of March and the different age ranges, you can see what we've got for community read. And the same goes for all of these listed here. We celebrate things like Money Smart Week, STEAM Week, Summer Break, which is our wonderful summer reading program for all ages, Freedom to Read, College and Career. And so as you're filtering different program types, and again, certain times of year as well, this filter is extremely helpful for that. And then the last filter that you'll see here at the bottom is our language filter. And that's because we have programs happening in different languages, and we also have bilingual programming happening throughout our system. So while the majority of our programs are provided in English, we do have things available in Arabic, French, and Spanish, and they run the gamut from conversation clubs where you can practice either Arabic or with other Arabic speakers practicing English. We have bilingual programming happening in story times, but also for all ages, depending on the topic. And then sometimes even I have seen in the calendar, we have some tutoring going on in for different ages with different languages. So if you're interested in more about that, the language filter is a good one to use as well. So those are the filters. This is our calendar. I thought we would do a quick run through of next Monday, just as a little sample, because next Monday, I know CMS is out of school on the 20th. And so I thought it might be a good day to see what's happening around the library system in case anyone wanted to visit with one of your children, especially your school age child. So at first I thought I'd do a school age filter, since that age range is kind of sort of all in one place. Then I can see what's happening on the 20th for school age children. I see we've got a scavenger hunt happening at Myers Park. I see we have some story times that are going to welcome school age children to the group that day, which makes sense to me since we'll all be there together. And here, let's look at our sensory story time to talk again a little bit about the registration process, because you can see that registration is full for this program. And so sometimes that does happen. If it does, this join waitlist button is always available. You just enter in your first name, your last name, and your email address to join the waitlist. You'll get an automatic email notifying you that you're on the waitlist. You'll get an email if you get taken off the wait list. And then if you get registered for the program, you'll get a reminder a day ahead of time that the program's coming up and when it is and where it is. You can always log in with your library card number to register for programs, but it's not required. So just know that. And then we'll go back to our list of school age programs just to see what else we've got, because it looks like we've got some that the registration is full, but some that are drop-in. So if you're interested in video gaming, for example, at South Park Regional, that's an option. And then if you're interested in South County Rookie Science, you can still register. And again, it's going to look very similar to the one we showed before. You have a red register button this time. You will put in first, last name, and email and complete your registration that way. It's always good to put in your child's name, but your email, for the most part, is what we're looking for when you register for programs. But if you have any questions at all as you're looking at our online calendar or looking at specific programs, I definitely encourage you to reach out to that branch, because they will know more than me or anyone else about the programs, how to register, what the status is, and they'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So if we're looking at Monday, that's our school age list. And then I thought we'd just do one more. We'll clear the school age filter and see what story times we have that day as well, just as one more example. So for that one, I'm going to go down to the event type that we talked about and click our story time button. And the other reason I wanted to highlight that is just because registration for story time can really vary branch to branch and location to location. And so a lot of story times, you'll see instructions to check in at the children's desk, or to check in and get a ticket before you go, or to sign in at a certain spot. And so, like I said, it's often here in the description for each individual program, but of course you can always call the location and find out more. All right, I'm going to switch my screen share one more time to get back to my presentation before we have to say goodbye. So let me do that. Because I just wanted to share a tiny bit more about how to stay informed, ways you can find out more if you have follow-up questions after today. We have programming e-newsletters for all age ranges. And so cmlibrary.org/newsletters will let you sign up. We just send one email a month, but we've got it for early literacy. We've got it for teachers and educators, teens, adults. It highlights special programs coming up, different things happening at different locations. And so we really encourage you to sign up for a newsletter if you haven't already. Of course, checking our website regularly is a great way to stay in touch. You'll often see, like I said, special programs highlighted at the top of the web page. You can always find the calendar there. But if you stop into your local branch as well, every branch has a print calendar, and they are lots of fun to look at. They show you the programming for all ages, and the staff there will really be able to let you know exactly what you're looking at on that print calendar and help you find what you need. Of course, if you come to a program, that's a great way to stay informed as well. You'll learn more about the library, all of our great resources. You'll meet some of your community members, and also you'll get connected to other things happening at the library, other programs you might be interested in. And then we would all really appreciate any feedback you have, especially as here listed on the screen. We're looking at the possibility of adding homework help programs. And so we really need some input on that before we get started. We want to know if your child needs homework help, what location you would come to for the help, what time would be best for you, just all of that. And so the link is here on the screen. You can scan the QR code or it's in the chat, but we would love your feedback on the homework help programming we're getting started looking into. So those are the ways to stay informed. And I just really thank you so much for coming today. This has been great to be able to share information, and I am always happy to answer questions. You can reach out via email, or I'm going to stay on for questions at the end as well. So thank you.